Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast. Welcome back to the October Mega Marathon. You know the deal. 31 days, 31 brand new pods of exclusive horror movie content. Exclusive is not the right word. But you know what? When you're talking about a movie like Omen IV, The Awakening, what are words at that point, right? I'm your host, Josh Griffey, here to break down the movies we love and find out what makes them magic, carnival magic. Joined as always by my friend, co-host, and lady who's way too into crystals.
I guess it's Alex Dandino.
It's 100% Alex Dandino. All right. Before we continue our excursion through the fucking just folly-filled journey of the Antichrist to do, I don't know, a little business. Everyone, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Guys, podcasts like us survive because of your support on things like Patreon. It means the world to us. We have an excellent community of friends over there that are our lifeblood. We love you all. We know you're listening. We would love for you guys to join, especially this month, because if you want every 31 pods, you got to go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. We have the Patreon exclusive commentary on Houseu. You'll love that movie, House. It's a wild-ass movie. And 2 Patreon exclusives that our patrons will be voting on. We also have a Tales from the Crypt miniseries, exclusive episodes, all kinds of fun stuff over there. So please go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod, especially this month with all of the work we put in to make this our greatest time of the year. It means a lot right now. The YouTube is Film Alchemist. That's free to go subscribe over there. That means the world to us. We're on all the socials you're on, including TikTok. Go help us out over there. That helps out a ton. Part of the social media, the YouTube, and what we're doing this month, we're asking you if you have horror movie-loving friends or movie-loving friends in general, please send out some direct messages, right? 5, 10 messages to people you know who would be interested in what we're doing. That means the world to us, guys. We need your help, and we appreciate it. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews everywhere you find podcasts. That helps us out. Helps us against the crushing algorithmic nuns that just don't get us. That'll help us out, guys. Please go over there. Make sure you go check out my movies over at misfitparade.net. We could be in the midst of a crowdfunding campaign for our first feature film, a horror anthology called Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole. We need your help to get this thing made. It's a wild, weird-ass, low-budget movie that we think will be a crowd pleaser. And you can check me out doing video content with my friends over at Looper, where you can see me from the belly button up talking shit about movies, man. That's it. All right. Alex,
Nice.
You're a big-time Hollywood producer.
Yes, I am.
What would happen? Yeah, what would happen if your assistant brought in the script for the Omen IV, The Awakening? So let's just put it here. This is a made-for-TV film, 1991's Omen IV, The Awakening. The battle for the end times, the rapture, has never felt smaller and more inconsequential. I will say this, though. And I'm not trying to be a contrarian, Alex, I promise you. I think this movie is so much more enjoyable than Omen 3, The Final Conflict. And I'll give you 2 reasons why. One, there's actually conflicts. A lot of them. Between every commercial break, there's an entirely new horror short film that just resets the entire rules of everything we've done. No movie has covered more years of a life other than Boyhood and Citizen Kane. We are flying through time as if it has no fucking bearing on the story whatsoever. So while the stakes feel smaller and a lot lamer at times, this movie is a fucking rip-roaring, non-stop gag-filled ride. And I gotta say, quality-wise, is it the Omen 3? No. Do we have any performances that level out to the performances we're used to in the Omen franchise? Absolutely not. This movie is at least 5 times more fun than Part 3, just because it's absolutely batshit crazy.
I mean, I'll give you that. Like, it is, like,
I don't
insane.
think when we rank these that you could put this below the Omen 3 because it's so fucking goddamn goofy and funny.
Not true. But again, it is like so insane. I think the problem, like, again, okay, if I had an assistant and I was producing the Omen series,
one of your many assistants,
if I was Mace Neufeld, who is one of the producers on this film, and my assistant brought in, hey, they gave me the Omen 4. Like, first I'd be like, why the fuck are they writing more Omen movies? We literally called it the final conflict. But all right.
Comic book and horror movie rules. Nothing's ever over.
So
nothing.
Then I'd say, all right, let me read it. And then when they said, also, they don't want to do a theatrical release, they want to make it for TV, I'd be like, huh.
Yeah. Like
Well, that
Fraser
seems
Crane,
like a-
you're listening. Yeah.
Seems like a terrible idea, but all right, let's give it a shot. And then
Okay.
this movie came out, I'd be like, okay.
All right, let's set the stage. So we got tired of that Damien horse shit, and we decided we were going to bring in one of his daughters. I don't know who he was banging and when. We just missed that part. I guess between part 2 where we see Damien is just a fucking young lady magnet to part 3 when we saw his unfortunate sex scene there, that we're just supposed to assume he's been slinging dick all around the northern hemisphere, right? So there could be any number of bastard children of Damien Thorne running around.
Right.
We start off in a nunnery where they have one of them, Delilah. She's our new Antichrist. She's a child of the Antichrist. I don't know if she actually has inherited the full mantle.
I think, like, this is, okay, actually, because there's the twist at the end. There's a nice twist at the very end. So actually, here's I'll say this. Okay, I will agree with you not to rank this movie last, because here's why. Actually, if you posit this correctly, this technically is Mrs. Baylock origin story. That's what it could work as.
It could be, but it comes after.
But if you just throw out any timeline,
if you like the entire creative team behind Omen IV: The Awakening, just throw out logic and time as a metric.
Yeah, exactly. We're just throwing out random logic notes. It's all good.
Yeah, time is one of the most crucial elements and tools in a filmmaker's box with which to kind of sculpt a narrative and massage an audience. This movie says, fuck that. This is like I don't know if there's a couth way to say this, right? Let's say you were walking backwards butt naked in a desert and just happened to like get a cactus way up in there. That's how time is used in this film, right? Okay, but here, I'll say this. This movie, how about this? Let's just start here. The great Michael Lerner is here as a great character.
As a PI, which was a lot of fun.
I'll say this. I think the side characters in this movie might be the best side characters we've had in any of the Omens. And I think we should go through 3 of them. Michael Lerner is the PI. He's fucking great.
He's great.
We have our nun who gets fucking, I guess, shamed / turned on at the opening of the movie. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on. She goes and becomes a fucking snake cultist.
Yep.
That's
still for
fucking
Jesus.
interesting. That's interesting. And then you get our 2 other side characters. The first nanny who's just super into fucking crystal stuff. And her friend who she meets in a van and has a mullet. And he says,
with
he
the
has
shittiest wig
line of
I've
the
ever
movie.
seen.
The line of the movie is, you bring her to my turf and we'll see. His turf being a fucking psychic
Being a fucking psychic
carnival.
fair. Oh my God.
Those 4 characters alone are better than every single whatever the fuck happened in the Omen 3. All of those storylines are wild and fun and lead us to great set pieces, right? I would start with Michael Lerner. He is fucking great. Like his descent into, he's kind of this tough PI who uses like birthday gram clowns as a distraction. That's a cool PI technique I've never seen.
He's putting
But
in
watching him fucking descend into, holy shit, what if all of this is real? Mm-hmm. There's shit in that sequence that actually really works and really captures that kind of nightmare that the Omen always has been really good at selling us.
Yeah, I think that, look, he is putting in the work to make this.
He is the MVP of this movie.
He is trying to make this a palatable movie. I texted you actually in the middle of me watching the scene from the Psychic Fair, and I was like, this is the first Omen movie I'm rooting for the Antichrist. Because it's just a fucking bevel of hippies, and then that fucking nanny, who, by the way, is the worst piece of shit. I mean, like,
Crystal Lady?
I wanted her dead in the worst way.
My God.
I'll tell you why. Here's
what
why.
do you have against people who run mall kiosk?
First off, exactly. First off, if you're running a mall kiosk and you're not selling me French fries, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Secondly, if you are taking a child to a psychic fair and then force her to take an aura picture, that's where I'm like, you're out.
Of all the things you could force like if you
Just
found
like
out your nanny,
forcing a kid to go to a fucking psychic carnival's enough, and then you're
we're
forcing them to take
parents.
photos.
If you're ranking things, you came home and your nanny's like, I took your kid here and did this without their consent. Psychic fair aura photo is low, dude. That's just good times. That's just good times, dude. Who cares?
I don't know, dude. They're all trash, but like, okay, but Michael Lerner for sure.
Him like having a drink, him looking at like the Christmas display, he knows this shit's coming for him. And then he gets absolutely fucking crushed by a wrecking ball. Because that was the thing Omen 3 was missing, was those kind of weird Final Destination style murders.
Yeah.
None of them in this movie are great, but they're at least interesting, right?
Well,
Michael Lerner getting wrecking balled was something I liked.
Well, that, and then they're not like Final Destination murders. They're more just like...
They're not clever at all.
Well, yeah, like they're not the Rube Goldberg thing that we've been like privy to.
Yes.
Like now what it is like a stare down with the item in question that Delia does. Yeah. Like they just like start with the clink, 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 and then they have a little bit of Gregorian chant or whatever they could afford, and then she stares down the task at hand, and either the dog carries it out because the Rottweiler's back. So either the Rottweiler carries it out or like precipitates it. So it's like a 10% Rube Goldberg, but mostly it's just straight up murder this time, which isn't bad. Like you just go with it. It's fine. Yeah.
And again, it's murdering adults and fun side characters, not babies. That's a huge plus.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take that.
All right. Let's go to our nun, right? So our nun who sees all this coming and she's like, there's only one way. I have to start a desert cult where her name's like Moonfire or some shit. I have to start a desert cult.
No, it's not even good. It's not even a good fake name. It's Felicity.
That's right. She's Calista Flockharding us.
It wasn't even a good, like, it was, you were just like, oh, what's her weird spiritual name? She goes by Felicity now. I'm like, all right.
That's not.
That's
a
normal name.
A stepbrother scene here. You have to call me Dragon. You have to call me Snake Tits. Like, you need a cool name if you're running a desert cult.
If you're gonna wear a shitty wig of haircut.
Well, I just say, all of a sudden she's just like, I'm a snake charmer. I'm like, that is the weirdest. That's the movie I would watch, like another spinoff TV movie, where it's like, how did she go from kneeling before that upside down crucifix statue to this? How did she take in all of this information? I know about the jackals. I know about Damien. I know about the Antichrist. And
by the way,
snake worshiper.
In that scene where the snake,
she just like rents out a local VFW to fucking roll.
That's exactly what it was.
How does that happen? That's a storyline that we could have used more of.
I honestly there's a huge missed opportunity, by the way, when they had the neon crucifix up there. I thought like they held on that shot. I'm like, oh shit, that thing's gonna swing upside down. That'll be dope. Yeah. Neon crucifix upside down, sweet. Never happens. Again, there's like a lot of hanging. They don't have
L&D budget for this movie. We can't.
There's a lot of hanging chads in this movie of like almost cool things that happened.
Almost cool things, but her getting bitten by snakes. That's gonna happen, dude. That's what always happens to these people. Sure, it's at least fun. It's not.
Oh,
great.
Dude, no, it's a fun time.
Watching her and Michael Lerner get bit, it's interesting. But the all-star subplot of the movie has to be the lady who just wears crystal necklaces that turn pitch black because of her violent maelstrom of an aura. And her little friend who runs... Also, I'm like, if you're that guy and you look like that guy and you work at the car, you can't be driving that van, dude. You're just giving the whole game away. This subplot of the psychic carnival, I was fucking rolling laughing. As they show up and it's just 15 booths of fucking charlatans bilking money out of these people. And it becomes so fun. So you're like, what a fucking absurd thing. Like, how far the Omen has fallen. But then Delilah just gets mad and starts fucking igniting and combusting all these charlatans. And you're like, this is kind of exactly the movie I want. If in 1991 I turn on the Omen IV on TV, this is kind of exactly the movie I'm hoping for.
Okay, so the first guy who gets caught on fire, by the way, after she it was like that. It was like the first guy who gets caught on fire. I think he was just a guy. I don't think he was one of the charlatans. I think
that was the blind guy, right? Or no, she just started with the normal.
No, it was just some guy who just like got caught on fire. I'm like, whoa, not
He's
cool,
just like,
man.
God damn it, never again. I'm not doing any more blind
People
dates.
die at the fair. Like, it's
I know
not
I'm
fair.
hitting 4. My hair's receding. This fucking sucks, dude. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, shit!
Yeah.
He's like just elephant-eared out of existence. Yeah. That scene fucking rips, though. Like, that is a really fun, if not stupid and pointless scene in this movie.
It's deeply entertaining.
To me, this is the thing. If your movie's not going to, like, really sell me the battle for the end times, at least give me things that are fun and memorable.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie does. The problem is then the whole fucking backbone of the story is this completely meager and watered down York family drama. The stakes of the Antichrist have never been smaller and more made for the small screen than this. Like, this guy looks like, because they're hinting at that he could be like a senator. He's going to go on to be the president. And he does not have the mystique of the people we have followed in this series. It looks like he runs like a local school board. There's not one moment of grandiosity. There's not one moment where he's like addressing a big ass crowd. There's something inherently wrong about this movie. Plays not more like this power to take over and like abuse mankind like we've seen. This is essentially just problem child that takes itself seriously. Yeah. And that part is hard to fucking stomach throughout this film.
I think that's the hardest part about this whole thing is like he basically looks like a fucking alderman. And he, like, there's, like, no way he's ready for the national stage.
This guy runs an HOA, and he's on, like, the board of his country club. I don't feel like he's a great weapon.
At best, by the way.
At best. I don't feel like he's a great tool for the Antichrist. Like, this guy will get us to the seats of power. And it's like, what power? You can just say, no more playing jelly roll on the 9th hole. It's unbecoming. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, this guy fucking sucks. I feel bad, but Karen York, played by Faye Grant, they just really gave her nothing to do except be exacerbated and
be horrified
so
at the commercial break.
She accepts every single thing as if it's matter of fact. Yeah. She gets a couple of moments, like when the crystal nanny gets fucking yoinked out that window,
and she
lands on the thing. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
But I feel bad. Karen York just has absolutely nothing to do in this movie. Like, oh, shocker, the doctor's in on it. Oh, shocker, the meanest Italian nanny's in on it. Oh, shocker, her husband wants to be a ladder climber.
The one where when she 86 is the nanny, the spitting in the face might be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a fucking movie.
That's gangster,
That was fucking hilarious.
That's just a kid saying, suck my dick, you have no authority over me.
That was like that episode of South Park where Cartman spits in the nanny's mouth, and you're just like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah, the British super nanny. He just spits right in their mouth. Yeah. Hawk toi! Right? For the Lord.
Why would you do that? Oh, my God.
This is the problem, man, is this movie wastes so much time doing an Omen-style uncovering of a mystery. I think by the time you get to made for TV, they did one thing right, which is they said, we need a lot of fucking gags. That part is great. She goes to the same priest 4 fucking times, and he's just like, I can't tell you nothing, sorry. And it's like, cool. If a character can't give us information, they should not be written in the script.
Move on.
Yes. Do I agree this is the worst written screenplay in the franchise? For sure.
Sure.
Still more fun than part 3. This is the eternal struggle of this movie. Yeah. There's no mystery to be had. There's not one moment of anything that happens that is shocking outside of the set pieces they choose. That makes it feel like it drags between certain commercial breaks. Because we don't care about the mystery. We know who Delilah is. We know who Delilah's dad is. We've done this 3 fucking times. And even if we didn't, it doesn't fucking matter.
Again, it's... I think this is the problem I have with, like, the twist. Like, the thing at the end. So, basically, like, Faye Grant passes out.
Discuss the twist, yeah.
So, yeah, Faye Grant passes out. They're like, oh, she's preggers. You're like, oh, okay, cool. She gives birth to a little baby boy. The twist is this is why I said at the beginning this is the Baylock prequel if you're not counting any sort of time frame whatsoever. Because the twist is
Blaylock, yeah,
because the boy's the Antichrist because he has what appears to like again creature stuff. I'm like, okay, that's nice creature work.
Not bad.
Like he has the little 666 on his hand. I'm like, all right, so he has warts that look like 666. That's
also again Satan just not being low key.
not low key at all.
Why not put it under the hair again or on the taint? Why not on the taint?
Why not somewhere where no one's ever going to see it?
If someone is
right
fucking
on the palm of your
nose
hand.
and eyes deep in your taint, and they see the number of the beast, they're not going to care. They've already gone too far. That's where you
also,
put
they
it.
would never tell anybody.
Right on the inside, right by the fucking sphincter. Except they're already eating ass. They don't care that you're the son of the beast. That's where you put it.
And you don't.
They
tell
might stop
anyone,
eating ass and be like, "Oh boy, this is infectious."
Yeah,
but they won't rat you out.
Yeah, nobody wants to. Yeah, they'll look at it and be like, "Oh shit, I should not do this." Like,
I knew ass eating was a bad idea.
And then you don't tell anybody about it. You know.
Yeah.
So
and then you just move on with your life.
But yeah, so that's the twist, which you're just like, but it comes so late in the movie.
Yes, but the twist also just completely invalidates the whole movie we've watched.
The whole movie.
Why? Okay, so here's the question. Why Delilah, period? And I don't want to shit on Delilah. They didn't give her much to do either. She looks like a little shitty kid.
Yeah.
It's not great. So, like, why are we putting all of this stock in Delilah to, by the end of the movie, just say, gotcha, she's not the one? It's like, well, then what the fuck was the point of all this? Just killing fucking hippies at a carnival? Like, just let them sell their fucking crystals and blankets.
I'm totally on board for. Killing hippies at a carnival is an American right.
You fucking hate kiosk. I get it.
That's
no,
fine.
But, like, it's so weird that the twist, it just completely unravels the whole fucking movie.
I agree. It's
like,
weird.
We already knew the movie had low stakes. I couldn't imagine they made them lower until the twist happened. And you're just like, fucking.
Again, by the end of the movie, we're okay. Surprise, surprise! The lady with her eyebrows done is the satanic disciple.
Yeah,
the nanny.
Yeah,
that scene where she gets shot, or where they do that thing that they do in movies when you like shoot someone in the stomach, you don't know who got shot.
Yeah.
It is. You're just again. I was like at that point.
But you can guess 9 out of 10 who got shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, is there going to be a commercial break? Or the other thing I was thinking was like, holy shit, are they actually going to try to justify that like her hand was broken in half and pointed back towards? I was half waiting for it to be like, there's no way that nanny got shot. Like they're gonna do this to Faye Grant. Again, there's so much in this movie. Okay, I'll give you. This is why, again, you're right. It can't be ranked last because there's so much absurdity. You kind of just get to laugh at it.
Yeah.
But I do think like a critical error is invalidating Delilah's existence with this like Antichrist birth.
Yeah,
like that again, I think sucks.
It doesn't make sense. It's like a weird like Arthur and Morgana thing.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
where it's like, oh, okay, but like that has to matter. We have to have an interlude in a moment. Like, why is Delilah, or why does we spend so much time with Karen York thinking that Delilah's going to hurt her when she's pregnant? And seemingly always ready to do so. If she is a minion and an emissary for her brother who will have powers, but she'll be like the number 2. There's just a lot of shit that ain't adding up. You know?
Yeah. There's a level of like mystery is gone. There's a level of just like shrugging that happens constantly throughout the movie. You're like, all right. I think that's what it is. This movie gives you the opportunity to watch an Omen movie, not lock in on the plot at all, and just go, yeah, sure, why not? Like, of course.
And again, I think this is the hard thing. By the time they got to part 4, they had kind of ended Damien, right?
Yeah.
So it is in a weird way this kind of like soft reboot. So they have to waste a lot of time doing this mystery again. Also, back then, if you think back to 1991, movies were just harder to come by. You had to go seek movies out more often. There is a world where a lot of people would have seen this. They had never seen the others before. So I get the impulse to want to kind of retell the Omen. But again, I think had they just really focused on these really fucking awesome, fun, batshit crazy setups, they'd get more road. This is one of those where we try to talk about the stories as they're told and just imagine everything was made because that's how the story should be. This is one of those you can really see like the limitations of the production reality.
Yeah. Well, again, it's
everywhere you turn.
made for TV is obviously going to be less bloody. It's going to be less shocking. There's going to be more like they did the one decapitation, and you're like, you didn't see any of it. You just saw like the car get scooped in half by the truck. You're like, well, I can assume.
Which, by the way, was also pretty fucking awesome.
Pretty fucking cool. But like that, I think is it's the Omen on TV, and not just TV. It's the Omen on 1991 made for TV movie television. It's so different than what we are used to now. Like people say fuck pretty openly on television now. Like sex, murder, all that
TV's
stuff is very
prestigious
common
now. Like TV feels like it's kind of supplanted movies as our number one medium for visual storytelling.
Like, movie of the week is pretty like the TV movie of the week is so. We talk about this sometimes on Tales from the Griff. Like now, those are so much fun because they were HBO and because they went as hard as they did. In retrospect, they didn't really go that hard. They just went the expected way. Now, then it was shocking as hell.
Well, they were not shackled like this one.
Right. I mean, it's HBO, it's premium content, so it's a little different.
The format of made-for-TV movie, is there anything that format could have yielded is kind of a new, untapped resource for the Omen franchise? That's
actually a really good question. And I think what you could have done was actually explored mythology a little more. Because, again, this is like one of those great writing exercise opportunities that probably would have befit like a young writer who's a huge fan of the Omen series, and they're like, hey, I'd love to be able to just take a crack at this rather than it being like gruesome. And I know that's the vibe. Like, what if it was more like this conversation about, like, what if it was like a search for the Antichrist, like that kind of thing. Like there was an opportunity to make a made for TV movie about the Omen that doesn't necessarily focus on that child. Maybe the search for that child or something like that. And it ends in, it can still end in tears, and that's fine. But like, there maybe is another opportunity, another kind of movie you could make, and it still works as a made-for-TV thing. And it's one of those things, years later, two idiots on a podcast are talking about it, and they're like, that was actually pretty good. Like, it was because that was a cool exploration of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, because I agree with you. I think the biggest flaw in the movie is that it's the fourth after the final conflict. Like, it's a weird...
Because we have to waste all this fucking time.
We have to waste all this time. Yeah.
But again, to your point, what if there was they need a different task than just, I think my kid's the bad one. They needed something else to fill that uncovering a mystery procedural part.
If they had done like more of a detective thing. A detective thing would
like, what if it was just a Michael Lerner joint?
Sure. Right? Exactly. If it had been a Michael Lerner thing, I would have been like, this is interesting.
What if it was more Angel Heart, Lord of Illusion, something like that?
Anything like that.
I think then it has a different, and that's the thing, when you do these franchise installments, that's why we talk about all franchise installments when we do this, and it's a really fun exercise, I think. Because again, you always want to do the same stuff that we like, pay tribute to those that came before you, right? Because you're building off of their backs.
Right.
You have to find something that makes it feel fresh, that makes it feel worthy of its addition to the franchise, right?
Right.
That's where I wish this one had gone a slightly different route. If we have erased Damien from the board, and apparently we erased Hobby Lobby Jesus too, from the board.
What a shame.
Right? So it's almost as if nothing we've seen happens. That is a perfect opportunity. And we're in a different medium with different kind of script and storytelling modes.
Yeah.
It's a perfect chance to really fucking dig in a new angle, right? Like an end of days kind of thing with Arnold, right? Maybe not that fucking bizarre, but there's some.
But that would have worked too.
There's some avenue here that they had, and with Michael Lerner being the best fucking part of the movie, I think there was a road that they just. And again, this is one of those where the real world sets in, where they're not letting you make this movie on TV without just saying, "Give us the tiny fucking budget version of the Omen."
Give us the hits without spending the money. And I think that's, again, now it would be like, well, I mean, we got another Omen movie this year now, which we'll talk about. But
which is fucking rad and feels completely unique and different in the franchise.
Right. And I think that, like, in 1991, it's hard to make a unique and different Omen movie. Now it would be like, you'd have, like, carte blanche, sort of the way they did, like, you'd have carte blanche, like, hey, hit the hits, but also, like, what about, like, Hellraiser was a great example. Like, redoing Hellraiser last year was cool, and we all enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it at least. Like,
I dug it, yeah.
There's opportunity to do things now, but in 1991, it's hard. So you get a made-for-TV movie that's just like, you know, it's like a band's third album, where like the second one was it's okay. This is the Weezer analogy. It's like Pinkerton. Everyone was like, "Oh shit, Pinkerton is like not my favorite," and then they do the Green Album, which is basically a redo of Blue Album. They're like, "Cool,
just
love
shittier than
Weezer
Blue Album, but it feels what you thought you wanted."
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what Omen 4 is like, Omen 4 is, but Omen 4 is also like...
My wife and I watched that documentary about Nickelback, right? Where it's like, why does everyone... It's actually a pretty fun documentary.
It's pretty interesting,
They seem like nice enough, just Canadian blokes, right? And all of a sudden he's like, they're talking about it at this one point, though, where... And just like no irony at all in their tone, like such lack of self-awareness where the guy's like... You know, it's coming for us, irrelevancy. And I was like, well, first off, motherfucker.
Coming is not the way I would have put
I was
that.
like, you guys are huge, right? Like the 10th, 11th fucking highest selling musical act of all time. Like, not to take away from your credit, but your cultural relevancy might be a little understated versus just your massive pop culture footprint, right? But they even say, and he's like, it's just hard, man, because, like, you know, we want to play... If we make a new album, we want to play the hits, but like, how could we not play this song and this song and this song? I'm like, I feel like you're really fucking doing two things, which is one, you're really pumping up the import of, you know, that you've got something pretty in your mouth song or whatever. And also, you're
is
also
that a
saying,
song by them? Jesus.
Yeah, it says like some lyric about like, you look cute with something in your mouth. Like if you go back and watch the documentary, Chad Kroeger has a lot of those like teenage boy who thinks he's slick lyrics. Neither here nor there. But it's also like, I think your fans could handle a night of not hearing Animal for the fucking 18,000th time if your new shit doesn't suck. That's the trick. If your new shit doesn't suck, people aren't going to be mad.
Right.
Like, we're both huge fans of Coheed and Cambria. Those motherfuckers, when they have a new album, they play the new album. And every time I go, there are songs I love that they don't play because they have new shit.
Yeah.
But what happens is their new shit is good, so you're excited to see it live. That maybe is where Nickelback and Omen 4 The Awakening are missing a little bit on this metric.
That's what it is. That's what it is. We're talking about, actually, to use my Weezer analogy, Omen 4 is exactly the fourth album, which was Maladroit, and everybody hated it. And you were like, that could have been a lot better, actually. There it is.
There's so many bands from this. Incubus is like A Crow Left of the Murder, where it's like, no, we still got it. It's like,
which now people love, which is really fast. Again,
give it
like,
time.
But here's
time
the thing.
heals all artistic wounds.
I'll say this: Omen 4, time has not healed the wounds. We just look at the wound and we're like, I wish this was something else altogether. I'd say.
It feels like the scene in Jaws where they're talking about scars, and you're like, this one is a better story than Omen 3.
Yeah,
like they're both scars, but like it's a better story.
Agreed.
It's a better story. That's it for the Omen 4. I don't know what you guys...
I cannot believe, by the way, we did at least 40 minutes of this show.
Yeah, I don't know what
Omen
everyone
4.
was expecting. Like, there's not a ton to dig into in this movie.
All id.
I'll say this, though. When our final rankings come out, there's no way this is below Final Conflict.
This is not the bottom. Actually, I know exactly what the
and
the
so
bottom
I
one
think
is.
the absolute shackling of this movie, it still soared over my expectations, which were so
low.
So low. Like Grandpa's Ball, so low. And we still fucking got more than we bargained for. So, guys, this is what happens when we cover a franchise. Some entries are, you know, not as high as the others. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the remake of The Omen.
Yeah, with Liev Schreiber.
I don't dislike the remake of The Omen, right?
I don't either.
And I fucking love the first Omen. So we've got good stuff coming. The Omen franchise, you know, as it started to decline, found a real fucking resurgence, man. And I think it finishes strong. So I'm very excited to keep talking about the Omen with you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Again, the October Mega Marathon. We stand on the edge of the horror beast. 31 days, 31 motherfucking pods. If you want every pod this month, you got to go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Support the show over there so you can get the commentary and the 2 Patreon exclusives. Trust me, you want that. Also, if you're here, you probably love horror movies. If you're listening to Omen IV: The Awakening, you probably really love horror movies. You might like our Tales from the Crypt miniseries, Tales from the Grift. We got a lot of good stuff over there. Patreon.com/FilmAlchemistPod. YouTube, Film Alchemist. We're on all the socials you're on. Sharing all that stuff means the world to us. Leave 5-star ratings and reviews everywhere you find pods. Make sure you email the show, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. And this month especially, guys, please reach out, DM, text, email, whatever the fuck you do to get a hold of people. Let them know what we're doing. Help us fill the tent so this can be our biggest and best October mega marathon ever. We'll see you guys tomorrow. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex Dandino.